Yay. Okay.
Yeah, let's
Also,
go.
why did you mute me like 5 times?
You're
I didn't
all
mean to.
recorded as
I was
well.
trying to figure out how to get you to record, and I clicked the mute button. Yeah, I'm allowing all of you to. Hold on.
All right. I'm recording too. Also, no, you can turn on your video if you want.
How do I do that? Oh, wait. I'm not.
All right,
Oh,
so I'm
there you go.
recording as well.
Alright.
All right. Are we ready to start talking sports?
And is Aidan,
right,
Aidan's
let's
recording,
go.
right? Yep. And all right, I think we're all good. Okay.
All
Welcome
right.
to Agree to Disagree.
Well, Zoom
Special
edition.
Wait. Let me
Yeah.
just make sure it's recording for me too. Oh, I think since one of us is recording, I think we're all recording. I think we're all good. I don't. Do we have to all have to do it?
I don't know.
I have the record thing in the top corner.
Okay, so I think we're good. So Aidan, want to start?
Sure. Yeah. So, welcome to Agree to Disagree. We're gonna. This is our makeshift way of doing it, I guess, since we don't have a radio station to have access to. What are we gonna start with? I think we're gonna start with the recent news of about 10 minutes ago. Quickly talk about
CBA.
that new NFL CBA. We're going to talk a bit about the coronavirus and, what that's doing to sports. And we'll talk about some good old winners and losers.
Right. Yes, we will.
Yes, sir.
So let's get right into it. So just about, like you said, in 10 minutes ago, the NFL players voted and agreed on the new CBA that runs through 2030. It's going to have a couple new changes. Most importantly, I think for us, a 17-game regular season and a expanded playoffs with 2 extra teams in there. So that'll be very interesting. I think we talked about it in the show a lot, but what are we thinking on the expanded playoffs again as we start up this new season and see how it goes?
I'm not against the expanded playoffs, but like I said last time, I still think that I don't like the idea of just one team getting a bye. I think it should be the top 3 teams getting a bye. Instead of the top 1, just because it takes away the value of having the second seed. And it might make teams quit earlier, because if having the second seed is the same thing as having the 4th seed, why fight for the second seed?
Good. Now that's interesting. Would you want to do it like with 3 teams? You said you want 3 teams to get a bye. Would they add an extra round and make it, let's say,
well, it would be the top
2
instead of
round bye?
Instead of the number 1 seed having a bye. So the way it would be is the 1 seed would have a bye, and then like the 2 would play the 7, the 3 would play the 6, the 4 would play the 5. Instead, what I would say is 1, 2, 3 get a bye, and then the 4 play the 7, the 5 play the 6.
Interesting.
Okay.
And then the winners of those, the lowest ranked plays against the 1, the second lowest ranked plays against the 2, the highest ranked plays against the 3. And then, you would need now that I'm thinking about it,
you need the top team have 2 byes.
You might need a second bye round.
It
would extend the playoffs by a couple weeks, but I think it would still be better than having just one team with a bye.
But I don't think it would be fair to give. I don't think it would be fair to give one team a double bye. I mean, I don't even think it's fair to the team that's getting a double bye. We saw what happened to Baltimore when they gave a week off to their starters, and they got smoked by Tennessee.
Way too much rust, and also I just think it makes it too unfair, because like people say the top 3 seeds all have the same record, and one team's gonna get to go a complete extra step, like in that sense, like.
Yeah, no, I get that. But another thing that this CBA is going to do is going to give the players a higher minimum salary, so that's great for the below average players, the guys who are just fringe players in the league, and it also gives the players a higher revenue share in the total market share. So what that means is they're going to get more of the money as opposed to the owners getting it, which I think is great for the players, because I think all of us here are more pro player than pro owner or pro executive, anybody like that. So I think it's good that the players are going to get more money in the new CBA. But I'm assuming there are other changes. But we're just hearing about all of this, so it's just breaking. We just heard about it a few minutes ago.
They're also gonna expand the season by 1 game. They're gonna lessen preseason games, and this might not be.
That will happen the following season. This season.
Josh Gordon's going to be punching the air for this. A reduction in penalties for players who test positive for THC, eliminating game suspensions.
Yeah.
Really?
No.
No more suspensions for weed.
If only he was
Wow.
born like 7 years later.
That's
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 Josh
my
Gordon.
that's my
Josh
favorite part
Gordon.
because we all know weed has been a part of the NFL for years, and the NFL's just been
Players smoke
denying
it.
it.
Calvin Johnson admitted that he did it.
Exactly.
Johnson loved that.
Here's something that I'm
So
reading
did Josh Gordon.
apparently
Yeah, Calvin got away with it.
the vote for the CBA was 1,019 voted yes and 959 voted no. So it was only a 60 vote split.
Well, I get that because if you think about it, with the minimum salary going up, that would definitely give all the fringe players, the guys who aren't superstars or aren't starters, a reason to say let's do this. But then when you talk about all the higher tier players, the top 20% level players in the league, all those guys aren't going to want to be a part of it because that has really nothing to do with them. Now they do get a higher market share, as I said, but the fact that they're not getting a higher minimum salary, and I'm not sure how much the maximum salaries will go up or whether it'll make these quarterbacks and the other highest paid numbers go up considerably. It would make sense that it would be so close. I mean, it's kind of a divisive issue on the money, so I get it.
Yeah, I do,
Yeah.
but
But no lockout though, which is great.
I think I've seen
Thank God. We can't have football going downhill,
Yeah.
especially what's going on right now.
About football, especially the first semester of the next 3 years. That's what keeps me going.
Yes.
Well, this is only through 2030, so we've got 10 years of no lockout, hopefully, unless something crazy happens. But for what it looks like, we're gonna have no football lockout issues for at least the next decade, which is great.
Here's the thing, and here's the issue that I see, is that there were so many players who were like high profile players who were so vocally against this, and they were so vocally against this happening.
Rodgers.
Richard Sherman.
Aaron Rodgers, Richard Sherman. There were so many players. I'm just getting another notification that it's happening, that the CBA is happening. I just think that the CBA is now given the owners an inch in allowing this 17-game schedule specifically and allowing the playoff expansion. And now the owners are going to want to take like a mile, They're going to start trying to expand, to an 18-game season and then probably a 19-game, and they're going to keep expanding it. And then eventually the owners are going to not want to increase the revenue share anymore, and the players aren't going to have any power.
Well, that's the thing. This is all about negotiations. It's really difficult. Another thing that the players are getting that we didn't even mention yet, I just saw this, 46 to 48 players active on game day. So they get an extra 50 guys play each Sunday. Yep. And practice squads will increase as well.
Also,
14 players in 2022.
Also, we were talking, speaking of the franchise tag that we were talking about, the new CBA will run. Oh, hold on. The new CBA that will run will only franchises will be only allowed to use one franchise tag. So let's say like the Cowboys right now, they would only have to choose one between Dak and Amari to use a franchise tag for. Right. The other one they can't use a franchise tag for.
Also, players
I love the franchise tag. I think
I am against the franchise tag.
I completely disagree with you and Jack in this case. I think the
I don't like it.
Is one of the best things about football.
Okay.
Because
let me tell you something. I understand
let me
trading for assets.
Go ahead, Jack. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I understand it from a player's perspective. If you can't, you're getting paid like the average of the top 3 guys at your position. So you're getting money if you can't work out a deal. I personally hate it as a fan because I think it takes so much excitement out of free agency. Because anybody that's like a big guy like Khalil Mack or Le'Veon Bell and Kirk Cousins, for 2 to 3 years, they kept getting held down, and it makes free agency a lot less interesting. And also, it makes these teams, it gives them an excuse not to pay people, especially take a guy like Khalil Mack. He could have got paid 2 to 3 years earlier. Not only did that affect him majorly because he would have got paid sooner, and he could probably got one more major he could have had one more major payday instead of just one. He could have had 2.
And I just want to add to that exactly what you said, Jack. We talk about in the NFL all the time how there's we almost want to say the slave mentality. People mention it a lot, where they seem like the owners are these plantation owners, and then the players seem like workers. And it's completely unfair. And it's unfair because you're forcing a player into a situation that he may not want to be in. You talk about a guy like Yannick Ngakoue. All we've heard for the last maybe year and a half or so is that he wants out. He wants out. Jacksonville stinks, and the organization
he even tweeted that he
hasn't done him any favors. Right. So he openly wanted it out. Now he's stuck there for another year. It's not fair. It's his career. He's played more than well enough to get a big contract in free agency, and now he's stuck. Has another season to have to prove himself. And then in a year from now, maybe he won't get a big contract. He could very easily blow out a knee in the first game of the next season and not get ever a chance to have that big contract. Instead, just gets the 1 year of the franchise money. If he were able to get to free agency now, have his choice of where he wants to go, it wouldn't be an issue. And that's just why I really don't like it. I think it forces players to stick where they don't want to be.
Yeah, but I think he's going to get I think Ngakoue gets traded either way. But the thing is, these players, they don't want to stay. They don't want to stay long term. I get the franchise side, gain back some assets. You don't want a player of yours to just walk away and you get nothing back. But what's the point if the player wants to leave, or if he is going to want to ask out, if he wants to say, I'm not staying long term? Yannick Ngakoue, for example.
But also, I think they should make an adjustment to it in a sense.
Yes.
If you're not going to let them go to free agency, if you're going to franchise tag them, I think you should be forced to trade them. Because
I don't think that
you're not willing to pay them, and you're not willing
and Ngakoue and Judon.
But
no, I get that.
Here's what I think. I think there are a few ways of keeping teams from abusing the franchise tag. The first would be have it almost as like a tender. So if you sign a player to a franchise tag, you lose a draft pick, potentially like a second rounder.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Or maybe even a first
like
rounder.
that.
That might be.
Yeah, there's got to be some punishment to it.
Or
yes,
maybe you have the entirety of the franchise tag salary counts against your cap. That could keep players or keep teams from wanting to use a franchise tag on a player, especially a high-profile player. Or option 3 could be restricting teams to only using it once every, say, 3 seasons. So
that would work.
You can't use it on the same player twice in a row.
I would like it also. Another thing, if they were going to make some changes to it, is if they were to use the franchise tag and then sign that player to an extension, let's say during that offseason or the next year or whatever, they would have to give them in the top 5 of that player of that position salary. Or just pick a number, top 3, top whatever, just so that they can get high money for the franchise money, but they can also get a ton of money in their next contract for however many years it ends up being.
Yeah, so equal or higher value of the franchise tag.
Or another interesting thing, I think, try and do it this way. Have they can only spend a certain amount of money on it. Like say the Cowboys are going to tag Dak Prescott. What's his thing going to be? $33 million? Maybe put a hit on $12 million if you can't go over that. Maybe that makes it a little more interesting.
No, that would help the owners, wouldn't it?
That'd be pretty.
Yeah, exactly. Because if I'm an owner, I don't want to pay one guy for 1 year. Would you want to pay one guy for $33 million when he can either get hurt or potentially leave the next season?
Definitely not Dak Prescott.
No.
Yeah, but then why?
And definitely not that guy.
More than it would help the players. We wouldn't like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But from the new CBA, the biggest thing I'm happy about, as a sad Jet fan that I am, the Jets only have to be just barely above in the top half of the league in order to make the playoffs.
My favorite thing about the CBA,
crazy. It's crazy. So who would have made it last year? Was it Pittsburgh and the
it would have
Rams,
been Pittsburgh and LA, yeah.
Okay.
Pittsburgh would have went 8-8.
Yeah.
7 and 9 playoff teams may become a lot more common.
They might.
And
for sure.
Now the whole division can make it. Let's say in the AFC, the Ravens win the division, the Colts win their division, the Chiefs win their division. The whole AFC East can make it now.
I really
I think it might be
like
possible.
that.
I love that.
I love the idea that an entire division could be in the playoffs.
Well, Aidan, let me just put you as an example.
A few years ago,
in the AFC
Rams.
South. They're a good
NFC
division every year. Tampa Bay is usually pretty competitive. The Saints are always really good. Atlanta's usually very good. And Carolina, all those teams I could see being a playoff team next season. Honestly, I could.
3 seasons ago, the Saints won the division, and then the Panthers and the Falcons got the wild card. And the Bucks weren't close to having a wild card, really. They were a little bit too far behind. But this season, the way that the Bucks looked at the beginning of last season, the way that the Panthers, have the potential of being this season, I really could see all 4 teams actually making the playoffs this year.
Right. It's not likely for any division, but that would be one I would pick.
I would love it. Speaking of the Panthers, I think that they're going to tank this year for somebody specific.
Yeah, Trevor
Lawrence.
The battle for Trevor is on.
Well, Justin Fields is right there too.
And also, I don't know if you remember a few years ago, the NFC West used to be competitive. You had the Cardinals, you had the Seahawks, the Niners were good with Colin Kaepernick at one point, and then you had the Rams. The Rams weren't the best team under Jeff Fisher, 7-9, 8-8, but they were competitive at home, and that whole division could have made the playoffs now in the 17th expansion.
Honestly, I could see all 4 teams from the AFC West there too, because we know how good Kyler Murray was. So,
and the NFC West is stacked.
Yeah.
The NFC West is stacked.
I honestly could see the NFC North as my biggest thing, because the Packers and Vikings, they definitely are capable of making it. If the Bears are able to upgrade a quarterback, which I've heard rumors are trying to trade for Derek Carr, that would be interesting. Maybe go out and take a risk on Cam Newton if he gets released, or we don't know. But if they can upgrade the quarterback with their championship caliber defense, and then if Matt Stafford could stay healthy, I think every team in that division is capable of making the playoffs.
Yeah,
all right, so you guys want to get into some free agency stuff?
Get into the free agency quickly, and then we'll talk about, that little thing, the coronavirus or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to go over a couple free agents. I'll bring up maybe 10 or so free agents, and you guys tell me, and I'll do it as well, where we think they're going. I mean, we know the free agency is going to be starting up next week. It should be very, very exciting as long as it happens.
You know it's going to be starting up next week. Sean Payton did say yesterday that he would be surprised if it started next week.
Yes, he did say that. Maybe you're right, Ed. Maybe it won't happen.
I read something
let's
from
a
verified source that it's likely that they still keep it going on Wednesday.
Yeah, they should. This isn't affecting.
As they should. I agree, Jack.
Or just do it.
Well, anyway,
have it on phone interviews or phone meetings.
Yes.
Here we go.
All right.
Okay, ready? So let's go to some quarterbacks. So let me just get that. Okay, here we go. So I think we're going to start with the GOAT first. So where do you guys see Mr. Brady playing in 2020?
Breeze is staying with the Saints. We already know where the GOAT's going.
I said Brady.
Yeah, the GOAT.
Yeah. Okay. How about Tom Brady?
I'd like to hear what you guys think. I'll let you go first.
I'll start here. I'm gonna go with the Tennessee Titans. He's got a good buddy, Mike Vrabel. I think he wants to go somewhere with a strong running game with him and Derrick Henry. He's got young, talented receivers, A.J. Brown and Corey Davis. Jonnu Smith surprised me last year. He showed he could be a top tight end in this league. And I think that's the place he's going to go. If you can't beat him, join him.
Okay.
Aidan, go ahead.
I think Tom Brady is going to sign with the New England Patriots. I don't think there is a chance that Tom Brady leaves the Patriots. I don't think Robert Kraft lets Tom Brady ever wear a uniform that is not the New England Patriots. And I say Robert Kraft, not Bill Belichick. I don't think Bill Belichick cares whatsoever who his quarterback is next season. Bill Belichick is going to make it to the playoffs he's going to win the division with me at quarterback. It doesn't matter who.
Oh, that's a stretch.
Buffalo.
Yeah, I think we'll agree to disagree on that one.
No.
Yes.
All right, Dean, how about you?
Bill Belichick doesn't care who he has at quarterback. Robert Kraft won't let Tom Brady walk.
You weren't there for this the last time we had the show. Apparently, I was ridiculous when I said that the Titans would take Tom Brady over Ryan Tannehill in a heartbeat, and Aidan thinks that's ridiculous.
I still think it's ridiculous.
I would take Ryan Tannehill over Tom Brady, but that's just me. Go ahead, Dean.
What?
Overall, I would take Tom Brady, but in this moment, I would take Ryan Tannehill over Tom Brady.
No, but where's he going?
Where's he
going to head?
Oh, where's Tom Brady going? This is interesting. I'm gonna go with Tampa Bay. Okay. I think Tampa Bay's a great fit for Brady. Have the best duo in the league, quite frankly, in Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. I think he could help develop O.J. Howard, give O.J. Howard the ball. I do think the Bucs need a running game. Jaquiz Rogers is not the real deal. The Bucks have a good front seven.
Jaquiz
They
Rogers?
will need some work on the secondary.
Yeah.
I
Dean,
think
you're like
Tampa
3 years
Bay.
late on Jaquiz Rogers, but
Okay.
So,
Are we like
Not
Ronald
bad.
Jones, buddy.
What's
Ronald
going on
Jones,
here?
Peyton Barber.
Yeah, there we
Yeah.
go. There we go.
Thank you.
Also,
Thank
I
you.
heard Bill
Jesus
Belichick.
Christ.
Bill Belichick's okay with letting him go there because he thinks he definitely won't win there because they're just a franchise.
I do.
I don't pay attention. Hey, listen, I don't pay attention to the Bucks. I don't even care for the Bucks.
I do.
I'm gonna say
like,
he stays in New England. Honestly,
I'm
I
going
I agree
Tampa
with Aidan
Bay.
here. Look,
I'm going to Tennessee.
I'm a Jets fan. You probably
Tampa.
can't tell with what's behind me with all the Mets stuff, but I am a big Jets
Oh,
fan.
you're a
always
Yankees
have been.
fan?
No, I'm a Mets fan, Dean. And so I think he's gonna stay in New England. Here's why. I just can't foresee it happening where he plays another uniform. It's really that simple to me. I try to imagine him playing in Tennessee, in San Diego, or LA now, other Tampa Bay, like other places, and I just can't see it. It just, I feel like his heart is so glued to New England, and the fans and the organization is so glued to him outside of Belichick that they're gonna make something happen. He'll stay. Belichick will kind of deal with it for the couple of years, and then Belichick will get his pick to whoever he wants to play quarterback in 2022 or 23, whenever that is. And maybe they'll even take a quarterback in the top 2 rounds again, like they did with Garoppolo a few years ago, and maybe that will be the guy they develop. But I think he'll stay in New England, and I think he'll sign maybe a 2-year, $50 million or so contract and go on from there. Next player, Drew Brees is already signed, so we'll pick another quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater.
Teddy Bridgewater.
I'm
And
going to
go.
go.
Go ahead.
I'll start.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Chargers. I think that's a perfect fit.
Yep.
Hands down.
Indianapolis.
High caliber defense. Good
Indy.
receivers. Mike Evans. Keenan Allen. Mike Williams. Excuse me. I believe they did franchise tag Hunter Henry, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm not sure what's going to happen with Melvin Gordon, but Austin Eckler is not a big downgrade.
Melvin Gordon's gone.
Yeah, okay. So I think the Chargers.
And no, you see Indy.
I agree.
Yeah, I say Indianapolis. I think it's a perfect fit for him.
I like.
I think that's a team.
I like the fit at Indy as well.
I think that's a team with a really good coach to develop him and put him in a comfortable situation. They've got weapons. They've got a pretty good defense, and the offensive line is phenomenal. We all know that. So I think Indianapolis.
I like the fit at Indy as well, but my pick, as much as it pains me to say this, is Tampa Bay.
Ooh.
I think that team has the best options for him. Teddy Bridgewater, we saw when he played with the Saints. He's a great quarterback, but he needs receivers who can catch. And the team that has the best core of receivers right now, I think might be Tampa Bay. And I think they are willing to go all out and spend whatever it takes to get a quarterback who can throw to those receivers and also not throw 30 interceptions.
No, I think you and I can agree
the Chargers.
that when the Jets traded Teddy Bridgewater for the pick that turned out to be Ja'Kai Polite was so worth it.
Oh, great. Oh, what a great pick that was. Oh, my favorite player on the whole team. Go ahead, Dean.
Florida bum. I'm gonna agree with Jack on this one. I'm gonna go with the Chargers. I think the Chargers. Also, when they had Phillip Rivers compared to Teddy B, I think Teddy B helps with the lack of athleticism that they had at quarterback. I think that he fits well with them. I think he fits well with the offense. The defense is a top 5, top 10 defense. I think Bridgewater would be a good fit there. But then you also have Tyrod Taylor backing him up or possibly the option of starting. So what do you do there?
We saw Tyrod Taylor when he was on the Bills. He's not a starting quarterback.
Agreed.
Oh,
Next quarterback.
I'll agree with you on that.
We're going to go more into a lightning round because we got a bunch of guys to do. Phillip Rivers. Just go very quickly.
Phillip Rivers, Indy.
Colts.
I'm going Indy.
I think Tampa Bay. All right, next one. Last quarterback we're going to do, Jameis. Famous Jameis.
Jameis is a tough one. I could see Jameis going to San Diego. I could also see Jameis being signed as a backup somewhere. But what I think I'm going to say, and this might sound crazy, but I don't think Dak's going to get that extension, and I think he's going to.
Wow!
What a statement!
Oh, that is.
Jeez.
I think they.
I wasn't even going to mention Dak because I figured he was kind of a given. He's getting the franchise tag or he's getting the extension. I can't see anything.
You got to keep Amari. Amari's more important to the team than Dak.
No, they're tagging.
No
Dak.
way. I'm not even a Dak fan. I'm not going to say.
If you lose Amari, who do you throw to?
Michael Gallup.
Gallup's not good enough to be the number 1 receiver on that team.
You
but
realize
neither was
last
Amari
year,
for half of the season.
He finished with more yards, and honestly, Michael Gallup, if he didn't get hurt and missed 4 to 5 games, he easily would have made the Pro Bowl. He probably would have finished with 1,600 yards receiving.
He had a great year last year.
But without Amari Cooper to draw away the double teams and to draw away the top corners, Michael Gallup is going to be swamped. No one's going to be able to throw to him.
Man, it's quarterback league.
He couldn't even throw.
Yeah. All right, go ahead. And where do you see? Wait, where do you see? Where do you say you see him? Okay.
Dallas.
All right, Dallas. Yeah. Go ahead, Jack.
Well, I don't know. Well, if I can't see Jameis going anywhere where he's going to be like the team's future. I could see him either signing a 1 year, like a 1 year contract, try and prove himself while the team is developing a younger quarterback. Or, like Aidan said, San Diego, unless he's going to an XFL team that's going to come to San Diego and wants to be a starter. But I'm sticking NFL.
I wasn't even thinking. I'm sorry.
I can see him going to the Chicago Bears.
Oh, you know what? I didn't think about them. I'm actually going to agree with you there. Now that I think about it, it's a perfect fit.
I think.
Dean, how about you?
Well, I think they give him another chance.
And then the last one, I forgot about the last quarter.
I think Jameis Winston goes. I think Jameis Winston resigns, and I think the Bucks draft the quarterback to develop.
Your boy?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know who that is?
Jordan Love.
Of course.
Love,
I think Jordan.
yes.
I think Jordan Love would be a perfect fit for Tampa Bay, but we'll get into the draft later on.
Who's the other one?
Last quarterback. I just forgot about him, Mr. Tannehill.
Oh, Titans. No way the Titans let him walk.
Resigns.
He
resigns. I agree.
He resigns.
Okay, let's go on to what positions you guys want to do for this? Let's do offensive line. How about that?
Offensive
line. Yeah, go O-line.
Okay. Just gonna update this.
What happened to Brandon Sheriff, Jack?
Oh,
I don't want to talk about it.
Jack doesn't want to talk about it.
Trust me. I hate the franchise tag. We discussed this.
I live in the same room as Jack, and I can tell you he's been talking about getting Brandon Sheriff for probably, 5 months now.
Wait, this meeting is
seriously
the host and now.
Yeah, so we can go an hour now.
Oh, really?
Wait.
Nice.
No, are you up?
Wait, what? How?
I don't know. It just says we can go more than 40 minutes.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's
Hold on, wait.
I
got to get to this offensive line ranking. Hold on.
All right, O-line.
Free agents. Hold on. Just got to get right there. Okay, and click on this top 10 offensive line. Okay, here we go. Number 1, we got Joe Thuney, guard from New England. He had a great year last year, and he's been really, really good the last couple of years, actually. Go ahead, Jack.
I'm going to stick with my team. I'm going to go the Jets, especially now with Sheriff off the board. I think he's the best offensive lineman available, and Joe Douglas needs to go out and get Darnold his protection.
Okay.
I actually agree with Jack on that, except for a different reason. I don't think it's to get Darnold his protection. I think it's because they saw how terribly they used Bell last season. They need to actually incorporate that guy into the game plan, and to do that, they need an O-line who can open holes for him to run through.
32nd in sacks allowed. I think it's bad for protecting Darnold.
Dean?
I'm going to have to – I hate to say this, but I agree with Jack on this one.
I think he's staying in New England.
I think the Jets need offensive line help, and I think the Jets are going to throw money at him and get him. How much do the Jets have in cap?
A lot. What is it, Jack? Like 60 million?
Yeah,
like 50, 60 mil?
Johnson, and depending on if they get rid of Avery Williamson, they could have as much to 65 million.
Okay.
Jack Conklin, next guy. Tennessee tackle. He has been really good since he came to the league a few years ago.
That's also tough.
This is an interesting one.
This is a good one.
Yeah. I think he can go anywhere, if I'm being honest. I'm going to make a prediction just because I feel that – I don't know. I feel like they got to find somebody. I don't know who they're going to – I'm going to say the Cleveland Browns.
Okay.
I'm going to say he resigns. I think he resigns.
I think he resigns too.
I'm going to go with resigns as well.
Okay, and last offensive line we'll do the really good tackle at right tackle, probably maybe the best right tackle in football, Brian Bulaga from the Green Bay Packers. He's been there forever. He's been 11 years maybe.
Oh God, I can't remember his name. The Redskins tackle, a free agent too, or is he?
Trent Williams. I think he.
Oh, we can do him, Trent Williams. I didn't even mention him.
I think he gets traded. I think he gets traded if he could get traded.
Yeah, he's gonna get traded. There's no way he's not.
Do you remember a few months ago when he had when they said he was playing with cancer or something like that, like something in his brain or what? So
I don't.
Yeah,
know.
the way the Redskins.
He had a little tumor on top of his head, and they were really getting in a back and forth argument about how he should get it removed and what the situation should be with him.
They said at one point that he was cleared, and then they found out that
and he didn't want to play with it. Right.
Well,
I think after that situation, the Redskins handled it horribly, and I think he's going to want to get traded, and I think he does get traded.
That's the reason why no free agent should ever sign with the Redskins.
Dan Snyder, what a great owner.
Well, then you can say the same thing about the Jets, Jack. They had the same problems with these injuries last year, where they didn't want to get into fights with players over injuries. That was just ridiculous.
Okay, but it wasn't a freaking brain tumor.
True. Okay. Let's move on to another position. Let's head on to running back?
Let's do cornerback.
Cornerback. All right. So let's start with Byron Jones. He's the best on the market.
Eagles. Like I said on the show a few weeks ago, I'm going to go with the Eagles.
Okay. Go ahead, Jack.
Yeah, like I said a bit ago, I think the franchise tag goes to Amari. And I think that Dak's gonna walk, which means they're gonna have some money. The Cowboys are gonna have some money to spend on Jones, but I don't think whatever they offer is going to be enough. And I haven't really thought a ton about this, but off the top of my head, I might be inclined to say the Bills.
Ooh. You know what? That's a good fit.
The Bills' issue on defense, as we saw in their playoff game, was that
second corner.
As soon as Deshaun Watson got away from the line, there was nothing anyone could do. If he got out, you need a good secondary who can find him and tackle him, or you need a good secondary who can keep their eyes on the ball, track that ball, and keep him from completing passes. That's what Byron Jones will do on that team.
Him and Trey White would go perfect.
He could make them a legitimate AFC East contender.
Okay. I like him going, actually, and I'm not sure how the money would work because this is an expensive roster as it is, but I really like him as a fit in Minnesota. I think Minnesota's biggest issue last year was their secondary. Otherwise, their defense is really, really good. But they have some issues at corner. Trey Waynes hasn't really ever lived up to it, and they just released Rhodes yesterday or 2 days ago. So I think Jones would be a good fit there as the number one guy.
Yeah, I'm gonna go the place I think he's gonna go. I think he will go to potentially. I could see Denver because they're always a defensive team first. They got rid of Chris Harris, so maybe they look to bring that back. Where I want him to go, I'd love to see him go to Aidan's team. I'd love to see him go to New Orleans. Him and Marshawn Lattimore.
Get rid of T.I. Apple.
Him and Marshawn Lattimore. The Saints already have one of the best run defenses with one of the best pass rushing combinations in Cameron Jordan and Marcus Davenport. And potentially, I think their linebacking core outside of Davis is a little weak, but I think their pass coverage would be unstoppable with Lattimore and Byron Jones to go along with Von Bell, Gardner Johnson, and Marcus Williams in the secondary.
No, Jack, what about the guy from the Giants? Didn't they what's his name?
No.
The
guy Apple, Janoris Jenkins. Is he a corner?
Janoris?
Did they resign him?
Janoris is
they didn't yet, but they could. I could definitely see them doing so.
Janoris is a safety, isn't he?
No, he's a corner.
He's been a corner for the Giants for years.
If they're not going to sign anybody, I'd like to see them move Gardner Johnson to corner.
I didn't think we played Janoris at corner. But here's the thing. Janoris, I'd love to re-sign him. As a Saints fan, I'd love to re-sign him. But if we can get Byron Jones, why go Janoris Jenkins?
True.
Jones is a far better player than Jenkins is. And he's not had any issues in the locker room with, just being a bad teammate, being a bad influence. If it comes down to it, I think the Saints go with Jones all the way. Worst case scenario, though, the Saints have Lattimore, Jones, Jenkins, and Bell, and Gardner Johnson and PJ
I
Williams.
think they should move in the corner.
That's 6 corners. You can trade or cut any of them except for those top 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
And you still have one of the best secondaries in the league.
Chris Harris, we just talked about him. I think Jack mentioned him. Where do you think he goes? He's probably going to leave Denver.
Not a chance he goes back to Denver.
I'm going to go with, and this is, I don't know here. I can potentially see him. I feel like he's going to be his contract's actually going to be on the cheaper side because he's getting up there in age, and I think he's coming off one of his weaker seasons, but I still think he's very productive. I think I could see him going to the Jets after the last time the Jets spent big money on a corner. That did not work out. I think they're going to try and get a cornerback with some experience.
Big news. I'm interrupting.
Hi, Aidan's dad.
Big news.
Hello.
Just saw Breeze traded to Patriots. I don't know if you guys heard that.
Yeah.
So Breeze and Brady together.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing. Change the jersey.
Okay.
Oh, that back. The Wildcat formation's there.
Dad,
Yeah.
Dad, where do you think Chris Harris is going to sign?
I don't think anybody's signed anywhere for 2 weeks. That's my prediction.
That's not a bad prediction.
I see him. I can see the Jets. I think they can get him at a discounted price. I think he's good. He brings experience, and unlike Tremaine Johnson, he has proven himself year in and year out. And I think they need like a guy who knows how to guard and how to handle being a number 1 corner.
I think he goes to Dallas to make up for that hole to fill the hole left by Byron Jones leaving.
Okay, Dean.
I'm gonna go with Chris Harris to Houston.
Ooh.
Houston, I think, has a pretty weak secondary. I think Houston needs that perfect corner, that perfect slot, and I think Chris Harris would be the perfect man to help build a secondary in Houston. Houston had trouble on defense last year.
I'm actually going to agree mostly with Jack about the fact that he's going to be on a cheaper contract because I think last year was a bit of a down year, and he's getting up there in age. He's 31 already. But I think a perfect place for him, and we see this a lot with veterans that need a restarting of their – or not a restart, but just a new team to go to. Either the Baltimore Ravens, possibly, but they already have a loaded secondary.
Yeah,
so
I was thinking about that. They can't afford him.
I could possibly see it on a cheaper deal, but the team I really think he's going to go to is the Seattle Seahawks.
That I can see.
I think that's a place where veterans can go and sort of remake themselves, find new life in the league. And under Pete Carroll, a lot of players do find success with that. So I think Seattle's a good spot for him. Next player we're gonna do is Xavier Rhodes.
I don't know who wants Xavier Rhodes right now. I mean,
Yeah.
I kind of get that.
God knows the Vikings need a secondary right now. If they're cutting you, like, what chance do you have by being picked up by any other team? That being said, I think he won't go. He'll be able to. Teams will be able to get him for relatively cheap, and I could see him going to. This might be a stretch, but Jacksonville, because they're looking to rebuild that secondary after trading Boye, after trading Ramsey. Who do they have left? They need somebody.
Wait, Boye went to Denver. Oh yeah. Forgot about that.
Boye's in Denver. That's why.
Ramsey's gone. Like, you need a cornerback. I could see him being signed there for relatively cheap and being, not a cornerstone of the defense, but at least, a name, right?
Okay.
Someone you might not want to throw to on every play.
I think we're going to head to receivers now. Or do you want to finish this one up? Up to you guys. We can finish this one up. We can head into another position.
Yeah, let's just go to receivers.
Go receivers.
Okay. Let's start with Amari.
Franchise tagged by the Cowboys.
Yep.
Or re-signed. I mean, I'd prefer him to get re-signed.
I don't think he's leaving.
I think he stays in
How
Dallas.
about Emmanuel Sanders?
I think he stays in San Francisco.
He's getting old, isn't he?
He's definitely up there. He is. Let's see. He's 32.
32. Wow. He's getting older. I think he's gonna want to stay in San Francisco. I don't know if San Francisco is gonna want to keep him. He was important right when he got there, but after a couple games, especially in the playoffs, they didn't use him too much. Did they?
No. He
They
got
didn't.
his touches, but not to the extent that maybe he was looking for. I
They
mean,
didn't throw.
they definitely found other weapons.
They didn't throw too much in the playoffs at all. I don't think that San Francisco thinks they need big name receivers right now. I think they're confident in what they have. If he doesn't stay with San Francisco, I could see New Orleans reaching out, trying to get him as a backup to Michael Thomas. But I could also see him go into a team like the Bills, who are also looking for just anybody to elevate that offense.
I feel like they have too many similar guys. Like he's like kind of an in the slot guy. They already have Beasley. John Brown can play in the slot if needed. I don't think
John Brown can also go be
I think they're gonna get drafted. I think we're gonna draft the receiver, but go ahead.
I like him going to the Saints. That's my spot.
Yep.
I wouldn't mind it.
I think he goes to the Saints.
I think and as he declines slowly, I think that's going to be okay because I think Deebo Samuel is going to take a big step this upcoming season.
Oh, true. Deebo Samuel was amazing in the playoffs. All right, next guy, Robbie Anderson.
Stays with the Jets. I think the Jets pay him as much money as they can.
Yeah. I actually disagree. Because, well, this is my opinion. I want the Jets to get Amari, or potentially if the top like 3 offensive linemen are gone in the draft, I think they should either take CD or Judy. I'd like to see, because I think Robbie Anderson has potential to be like the best number 2 in the NFL. I don't think he's a number 1, and I think he's clearly shown it at points. But I think he's a great number 2. He's a great deep threat that will eat number 2 corners alive. I'd love to see him go to the Saints and be across from Michael Thomas. I think he's the ultimate deep threat for Drew Brees. The Saints have lacked a deep threat for the last couple of seasons. Ted Ginn's getting up there in age. He can't do it like he used to. I think Robbie Anderson is perfect, and I think he will easily become a Pro Bowler in that Saints offense.
I think he's going to go to Miami. I think Miami wants to find a young, controllable player as their number 1 guy if they get a new quarterback, which it looks like it'll be Tua Tagovailoa. Maybe somebody else, but that's where I think he's going to go. And I think somebody who's fast will be a deep threat for Tua, who's got a ginormous arm, as we all know, would be perfect. So I think Robbie to Miami would be a good spot. They can also finally use some money on and make a splash on a player in free agency because they haven't been spending much for the last few years at all.
They just spent like $40 million on Parker. I don't see them spending another 10 plus on another receiver.
So who do you think is their number 2 then? That's a fair point.
I don't know, but I don't think you go out and you get a number 1 caliber receiver when you're not going to pay 2 number 1 receiver contracts when you're not really going to be a threat.
True. Okay. Let's see what happens. I don't know. I like him there. I think he's a good fit.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Wait, you said they're not going to be a threat. I disagree with that. I think. Did you guys see the way the Dolphins played over the last 5 games of the season? That Dolphins team under Ryan Fitzpatrick, sure. But that Dolphins team looked like they
did pretty good.
In them. They looked like they're not going to win the division this year, not even close, with the way that the Bills and the Pats are going to be. But they're gonna make it tough for some teams.
Aidan, I've seen
Brian Flores is a good coach.
Well, my Robbie 2 Miami pick is off the table if they sign Melvin Gordon because they're not going to pay for both of them. But I heard Melvin Gordon is definitely interested, so we'll see what happens with that.
I think Robbie Anderson goes
better than the
Going
Jets.
back to Aidan's point with Ryan Fitzpatrick, I don't think Tua is going to start right away, especially they don't have a great O-line, and he's very injury prone. Don't throw him out there just to get beat up. I assume they're going to resign Fitzpatrick to a decent contract, and I've seen this story before with the Jets. He's going to get that money, and then that talent goes away.
Yep.
Great.
So they probably won't be.
Okay. What other positions you guys want to talk about before we head into this coronavirus stuff?
I was going to talk about Austin Hooper.
Okay, go ahead. Anybody else you want to mention? Go for it.
I think Austin Hooper, and this pains me to say, I think goes to the Patriots.
I agree.
I think the Patriots are in need of a tight end right now. I think Austin Hooper, not only is a good player, but he would be the perfect fit in New England for a tight end. I mean, the Patriots could also draft a tight end, but I do not see the Patriots drafting a tight end. I think they go out and sign Austin Hooper.
Okay.
Yeah, I could see that. Actually, I could see the Patriots. No, I see the Patriots going after Tyler Eifert. He's a guy that people have a lot of questions about. No one's going to be willing to pay him. That's going to be a Belichick move. He swoops in, he gets in for nothing, and he's going to be like the biggest surprise.
Especially, a lot of people are saying the Patriots are going to try and go after Andy Dalton. Having Andy Dalton on the team might make Tyler Eifert more willing to come there because he already
didn't talk about him before.
Yes,
but
that is true.
My prediction of who the
I
Patriots.
agree. I think Hooper to the Patriots is a big move, especially after the Patriots lost out on the chance of getting Hunter Henry. So
let's hit into pass rushers. We can do that as the last position. I just figured out that we didn't do that.
Before we go to that, I just want to say one thing. Mentioning one more player, Melvin Gordon. I would love to see him stick it to the Chargers, especially. If Sammy Watkins does what he says, he's going to take a year off. I would love to see
Melvin management.
Gordon. That would be.
You've been on that train, Jack. You have been saying that for a while. I'll give you that. You have been saying
I would be
awesome.
Seeing it. I don't think the Chiefs would go for it. A team that I could see going for it is the Seahawks, and I say that because I don't think they're going to keep beast mode for another season. And
what happens with Chris Carson, though? Yeah, Chris Carson's going to be back.
The thing about the
14
Seahawks,
games, he had 1,200 yards.
The Seahawks have not committed to using Carson or Penny yet. They play both of them seemingly at random, and neither of them have specific roles in the team.
I think they're pretty committed to Carson.
They're both.
I actually kind of agree with Aidan. I think that there were some games at the end of the year where Penny got a ton of touches.
And
they did get a lot of touches with them.
At the end of the year, he got more involved. I definitely agree with that.
I say you trade Carson, keep Penny as your backup, get Melvin Gordon to be your easy number one.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Fair enough.
All right, into pass rushers. Ngakoue we already talked about, but how about Jadeveon Clowney?
I don't think he's going to want to stay with the Texans.
But I think
he goes to the Giants.
Sorry, did I say?
I think he goes to the Giants.
Okay.
I don't think he's going to want to stay with the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks are going to spill all their money on him. But
I think he's going to be in Seattle too.
I'm not a huge fan of Jadeveon Clowney. I think he's a little overhyped. He hasn't had one season above 10 sacks, and everyone talks about him as being a top 10 pass rusher, especially last year. He didn't even have 4 sacks. I don't really know where he's going to go. If I can name one man that I can think about that I can see paying him, that man's name is John Gruden. I could see him going to Oakland.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
We haven't really mentioned anything about Oakland the whole day today. How about Eric Armstead? I think he's in San Francisco for the long haul.
Yep, he resigns.
Yeah.
They built that team on the D-line. They are not going away from that. Matthew
Judon already signed his franchise tag, so it looks like he'll be in Baltimore going forward. But how about Robert Quinn? He had a pretty decent year last year in Dallas.
I'm going to say I'd love to see the Saints sign him, but I think he's going to resign.
Dallas.
I think he stays in Dallas too. And the last one we'll do, one of the most surprising players in the whole league last year is Shaq Barrett.
Shaq
Barrett
likely could get franchise tagged by the Bucs.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely see that.
I can see that too.
Okay. But if he doesn't, I still think he stays with the Bucs. I think the Bucs give him the money he wants.
I was going to say
I can see him going to Kansas City if that's the guy they want to make a splash on in free agency.
Ooh, maybe.
Because he's a little older. He's going to become a little cheap.
Can we talk about 2 more guys quick?
Go ahead.
2 Patriots players. I want to get to your guys' feelings on this because, living in Massachusetts, I know what we all think. We got Kyle Van Noy, first off, and Devin McCourty.
I would pick them both to stay.
Really? Interesting.
Especially Van Noy.
I actually think.
Go ahead, Aidan.
I think Devin McCourty goes to the Giants, and I think what was it? Kyle Van Noy. Kyle Van Noy stays.
Interesting.
Van Noy seems to be a perfect fit for Belichick. I can't see him leaving.
I think Devin McCourty stayed.
The Patriots have been able to re-sign guys on the basis that they're Super Bowl contenders. Are they Super Bowl contenders this year, even with Brady?
I don't know. I see Devin McCourty staying because he's been one of the few guys from that Belichick defense that has stayed throughout his whole time there. He's one of the few guys ever since Belichick's original defense. I feel he's really only held on to like 2 guys really, and that's him and Chung on that whole defense. So I definitely see him saying. Kyle Van Noy, I believe he's turning 30. I just don't see Belichick paying a decent amount of money for a guy turning 30. I could see Cleveland. I think they're going to let Schubert go.
Like a Jamie Collins move where he goes and then it goes to Cleveland and then comes back. Watch how that happens too.
Yeah.
I think I agree.
Great deadline move.
Stays, and I think that Van Noy follows the same path as so many former Patriots players, and he either goes to the Titans or the Lions because those teams love to sign former Patriots players.
Yeah. Also, before we move on, I just want to go one other thing about what Aidan was saying about Amari Cooper. Like, who are they throw to? I definitely think they're going to tag Dak, and also the rumors about them about a reunion with one Dez Bryant have been heating up.
That would be interesting.
I just got this.
That would be very interesting.
From Bleacher Report, the NFL salary cap is going to be set at $198.2 million,
Yep.
$10 million up from last season.
Cool. That's good.
It's more room.
Also, you know how we talked about Ngakoue earlier in the franchise tag?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think Judon gets tagged and stays. I think Ngakoue gets tagged but gets traded. I don't know what you're saying, but I think he gets traded. I think Ngakoue is getting traded.
Okay.
All right.
That's a fair point. All right. So let's head into this coronavirus stuff. So again, this is Agree to Disagree. This is our first online Zoom session, our first episode online, and we'll probably be posting this on Twitter and Instagram, hopefully, and we'll see exactly how this all works. We've never used this app before, but I think it will be a good way to get our messages out there.
It's a good alternative
for people to watch. Right. It's a great alternative under the circumstances.
Anybody else on VIC doing this? I don't know.
No. Because while they're sleeping, we're grinding.
Right.
Exactly.
So we're going to get right into this coronavirus situation, and we know how much it's impacted the sports world over the last 4 or 5 days, but it's definitely been very strange, very different for, I think, all of us who are so used to just being able to turn on our TVs and watch what we want and follow the different sports as we please. And now there's really nothing going on. So let's get everybody's take on it and talk about how this is all impacting us and what's been going on in your lives.
I'll begin.
Go ahead, Jack.
I don't know about you guys, but I have been struggling these last couple of days. It has been very difficult at night. There's no NBA on. There's no news about like any potential late season surprising acquisitions, playoff predictions. I do think the NBA is going to resume. So I think Dean will be happy about that because it's potentially his year. But
not after Sunday.
Oh, did you get
into that?
It's 2-1, bud. It's 2-1. It's 2-1.
Did you guys see that? That guy, I can't remember who it was, who was proposing a March Madness style bracket for the NBA.
Spencer Dinwiddie. Yeah.
I love that.
I agree with that.
I think that would be a better way of doing the.
Wait, I didn't hear about this. What is it?
So the
Spencer
idea
Dinwiddie,
is that every single team in the NBA makes the playoffs. The top 4 teams, based off of record, get a bye. The bottom 4 teams play a best of 3 series against each other in their conference. And then the rest of the teams, that'll be left with 28 teams?
Yeah,
it's going to be like a 28-team tournament.
It would basically just be so those 4 teams still get the bye. The 24 teams play each other. You narrow it down to 12. Add those 4, you have 16, and then you just do a regular March Madness style bracket, best of 5 game series.
I don't know.
Yeah.
As a Knicks fan, I don't want to give James Dolan the pleasure of letting him say he made the playoffs technically. So
they probably actually win the first series if they were in it.
It would be a huge win for teams like the New Orleans Pelicans, who are currently fighting for a spot in the playoffs. The Grizzlies. It would be big for who else?
Sacramento, Portland, teams like that.
Yeah.
The Washington Wizards even.
That, are good enough.
Even Atlanta, I would love to see Trae Young in the playoff.
Atlanta has been a bit most disappointing. I don't understand that.
I actually hate the idea
young
of
core,
honestly, but
I think
it's a dumb idea.
I love the idea.
Love to see, somehow the Warriors making it to the finals.
Yeah, they won't.
Now that they got Steph Curry back.
Curry, Wiggins, maybe Clay comes back. if they make the playoffs.
Well, that would be really interesting.
Maybe
Imagine if
Kevin Durant comes back.
If Kevin Durant was like, I'm here, watch out, Toronto in the first round and scored 40 a game, like that would be insane.
Oh,
But
my God.
I do want to talk about one thing, the Lakers-Clippers game from last week. Yes, the Lakers won. I know that makes Noah very happy, but I look at it as a way from the Clippers' perspective. The reason they lost, they're a 10-man team, and they are built when everybody does their part. In that game, only 6 players did their part. When they get nothing from Marcus Morris, nothing from JaMychal Green, nothing from Shamet, and a very surprised Lou Williams probably had the worst game of his life. When you have 4 guys that give you nothing on the court, there's no chance.
Harrell even struggled with free throws.
I'm not taking anything away from LeBron, but having 4 guys that are key players for you do nothing and only lose by 10 and kept
maybe it's a sign of things to come. I mean, not Lou Williams, but the other guys.
First of all, that Bradley game is never happening again.
That's actually I think that's a bigger, like the Clippers shouldn't be as upset about losing as they should be.
Well, let's just hope that there is a playoffs and we can actually see the series that we've all been hoping for with these 2 teams.
Yes.
So we'll see what happens. But as for me with this whole coronavirus, I'll tell you, I'll never forget me sitting with my parents watching the president's sort of little 10-minute speech there on Wednesday night. And then all of a sudden I see some news on my phone where this Utah-Oklahoma City game is getting played. And then we're wondering why. And then I see the news from Shams Charania that, and Woj also reported it right away that Rudy Gobert had contracted the virus. And, you know, I was thinking to myself, you know, what does this mean? And then literally a minute later, it says NBA's canceled the season or has suspended the season. And since then, it's been weird. Like it's been tough. I mean, there's really nothing going on for me to kind of look forward to at night and for games to be on. And it's difficult, but I get why they did all this stuff. I get the fact why there's no March Madness. You can't be mad. You can't be mad at it. This had to happen. You had to.
It was the right move.
Yes.
But for me to say, like, listen, I don't. No offense to the hockey fans you guys who are hockey fans or anyone who watches.
Not a big hockey.
Who are hockey fans. I don't really
care.
Oh
yeah, baby.
But what I heard that the NHL was
2014 playoff.
I legitimately almost started crying because at that point I realized everyone's gonna shut down.
It's over. The only one that's holding on is Dana White in the UFC. It looks like they're the only one
go.
Keep going.
I'll get into that later.
Mexican Soccer League. I don't know what they're called, but they're
the Liga MX.
La Liga MX.
Also, you gotta look at how the coronavirus. It's just affecting fans' perspective. The business side. The NBA is losing over $465 million in ticket sales.
Well, just think about the arena people, and we're going to get into
the workers
and losers later, but just the people that sell us popcorn and hot dogs and Heineken. I mean, think about those
hard workers.
Think about the people that are the janitors there. Think about the people who are the security people that let the players
sweeping
in
up the floor
every game.
And the worst thing is that the burden of paying their salaries is for some reason falling on the players.
Right, it's ridiculous. You're billionaires. Pay them.
Sure, it's great for all of these players, for Zion and for Kevin Love and for Giannis. It's great for them to say that they're willing to pledge money to pay these players' salaries. But, take the role of Mark Cuban, who is one of my favorite owners in sports.
Yeah,
what a great owner. What a great owner. Yes.
I was going to mention it too. On Wednesday night when it was all happening, he was phenomenal on television. He was great. He was perfect.
He played it perfectly.
Well, I always say this. What's the biggest difference? Well, I mean, it's not the biggest difference, but I like to point this out. The biggest difference between James Dolan and Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban actually looks like he's happy and enjoys owning his team.
Something that I know
he's passionate.
That I love. I've never seen a shot of Mark Cuban watching a game from a box seat.
No, he always sits in that same courtside seat right there. But so does Dolan, so I guess that doesn't really matter.
Dolan should sit in the box. That way no one can harass him.
I know that not every NBA coach or NBA owner sits in the box, but I've never seen Cuban in a box seat. I've always seen him on the court in the stands. And that's something that really speaks a lot about him, I think.
Yeah.
He cares about the team more than just the financial side.
But also, I must say, though, the playoffs this year, if it resumes, will be very interesting. Teams coming off all teams are going to be very well rested. They're going to be healthy. It's like Kawhi and pretty much every other player in the league is load managing for the next month. So
something like that, yeah. No, you're right, Jack. It's like a fresh start. It's basically like it's like a super all-star break.
Yeah, especially if like for Dean's team, if Paul George, he's starting to find his stride. If he can continue to get healthy over this time period, watch out.
And, Jack, for me though,
Kawhi was overdue.
Hopefully the playoffs are hopefully there is a playoffs. I'm not even thinking about it. Like I'm honestly just taking it day by day, and I think a lot of other people are, and we're just thinking in 30 days, what is Adam Silver going to say? What is Adam Silver going to end up doing? But I'm not even thinking to potential playoff matchups too much or anything like that right now, because I'm not hoping for anything. I'm just expecting the fact that this will hopefully end up coming to a resolution. But I'm not hoping that we're going to get a normal playoffs. Like I thought about this the other day. We like, as sports fans, we like for things to be the same, and we like for the fact that it ends on the same sort of day each year, and the whole format of it is always the same. Now we have to just be happy with whatever we get, whatever it is, whether it's no regular season for the rest of the year, or baseball's only 120 games, or whatever those compromises end up being. We just have to be happy and accept the fact that whatever sports we get from now until the end of whenever this is over, we just have to be happy with that, because it could be way worse, and we could not have sports again for the next 5 years possibly if this keeps going. It gets worse,
When was the official MLB opening day supposed to be? The 26th?
26th, which is next Thursday.
Oh, you got it. That annoys me.
So now baseball won't start at least till April 9th, and most people think it'll not even till May. And I'm sad about that, but I'm thinking, hey, at least if it starts in May, we get 130 games, and we could get no games.
Yeah.
At least
as long
we get
as
that.
we play. This is our year, Noah.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm hoping for too, Jack.
Got it.
Has it been in Massachusetts, Aidan? I know you guys have a lot better teams than we do in New York, so maybe it might be a little more tough on you guys.
Honestly, Massachusetts is hating this right now because the Celtics they weren't going to win the NBA, but they were going to have a shot. They were going to do well, and the Bruins were the only team that was really looking great in the NHL right now. They were probably going to win the Stanley Cup or at least make it there. And the Sox, I'm still hopeful in the Sox. I still think the Sox are better than any other team in the AL East. But
really? The Yankees?
I think they're way better than the Yankees. But you're never going to hear me say that the Yankees are better than the Sox. So maybe I'm a little off. Either way, it's annoying. Although I did hear this thing, and I don't know if this is true, so you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. But there is a rule in the NHL handbook, apparently, that says if the Stanley Cup gets canceled, the team with the best record in the regular season gets awarded the Stanley Cup, which would mean that if
that the case? I didn't know that.
If the Stanley Cup gets canceled, the Boston Bruins become Stanley Cup champions.
That's interesting.
That would be really interesting.
I was say, but one team in all sports, if they had, not that anyone should be happy about the situation, but if one team could take any positives from being delayed, my opinion, is the Philadelphia 76ers.
Yeah,
by everybody trying to get it's going to do wonders for some of these guys. It really is. It really will. Will.
Yes.
The only problem is now you think about guys who are kind of new to their teams, like a Marcus Morris, right, Dean? And you think, well, he was just kind of getting into the groove of being a Clipper and everything, and now he's going to be gone.
It's a different role for him.
And
and now he's going to be gone from the team, and all that chemistry they were building is no longer going to be there. I mean, they're going to have to kind of get all that back and figure some things out. But all the chemistry that was growing is, all that growth has now stopped.
Hey, man, Kawhi is getting the boys together. They're probably playing on
I don't have
move your foot. Your foot's right in the camera.
I don't have specific examples, but guys who signed 1-year deals who
edit that out.
This was their year to prove themselves. This was their year to prove that they could be on that team and play in the big league.
It hurts them.
They're not getting the rest of their season to prove it.
Yep.
Yep.
It's tough. I just feel bad, even more than the players, like we were talking about. Just the arena people, just the people that are the security guards. I mean, think about how many people are involved in getting a professional sports game together, or even a collegiate sports game. There's so many people.
Especially
Media. fans, workers, players, executives, coaches. There are just so many people that are involved in this. And now all of them have just had their lives put on hold for at least a month. It's unbelievable.
Especially for arenas like Staples or Madison Square Garden that have multiple things. Like they both have to set up hockey.
Hey.
2 courts. Boston,
TD Garden too, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
The best garden in sports.
Okay.
It's tough. I mean, I just feel for so many people that have to deal with these problems. Do you guys even know anyone that has the virus? Have you guys heard of anybody that
There
you
are a couple people
actually know?
In the
It's
town.
like crazy. Imagine if we were in college 4 years ago, we'd be out of work right now.
Yeah. All of us.
Oh yeah.
Aiden, you know anybody? I think you said you were saying something.
There's some people in the towns near us. I have a friend who has a friend.
Okay.
Who's like, but nobody yet.
Because
I'm mostly worried about, like getting it and transmitting it to someone.
Yep.
yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Thing, guys.
I have to feel bad right now for the seniors in college because
and high school.
Oh.
But seniors in
I'm
college
not gonna have a graduation
because it's not just that they're missing the end of their senior year. It's that, we were talking about this in media industries, Jack and Noah. Back in 2008 when the stock market crashed, those seniors who graduated into that stock market, the failing stock market, they had to, take that burden. They had no jobs offered to them. Nobody wanted to hire them because no one was hiring. And then by the time it got better, that was when they started hiring recent college grads. And those people from that year never really got their job, never really got their chance. I have a feeling the same kind of thing is going to happen this year. These people are going to graduate and they are not going to be able to get jobs because, especially in the sports world or in the travel world or, in places like that.
Honestly, I think it's any industry. I mean, even to be a doctor, like who's hiring?
Yeah.
Who wants to be a doctor right now to have to go into that industry?
But,
I mean, there's really no escaping this, honestly.
Nobody's hiring right now.
Terrible.
The one place that's really, you can only say like business is probably up and it's only at certain like spikes is like grocery stores because everyone's in panic mode. I was in Whole Foods the other day. You should have seen the shelf. It was literally just complete empty. Nothing for all the way.
I was driving back from Maine the other day.
Like a war in there.
You guys know those little like gas station plazas off the side of the road on the highways?
Yeah.
Yep.
Me and my friend went in there to like go to the bathroom and we were looking for like hand sanitizer or wipes. It was completely gone. Empty.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Every store has
in
nothing.
Gas stations on the side of the highway.
Wow.
Like the last place you'd think to go.
For Jack and I, a town right 15 minutes from us, pretty much, is they're calling it the ground zero of New Jersey coronavirus cases. So that entire town right now is shut down. It's Teaneck.
Yeah, Teaneck
it's right near us. It's maybe 15 minutes. The whole town is now quarantined. You're not allowed outside in that entire town. We're not affected by it technically because it's too far from us right now. But if it keeps moving our way, we'll be in that same position where nobody's allowed out in the entire county. It's really bad.
But also, I think like right now, I think it's I think it's good. Like for the next week, it's gonna get worse. But I think a lot more test results are gonna come out, and I think once people realize that a lot less people aren't dying from it, like once more test results are out there, I don't know. I feel like it will calm down a little bit.
Do you guys think we're going back to school at all? Because I don't.
No.
I think we will.
Can I? Sorry if I
don't
cut
think
off anyone.
I want to. I'm actually like ready to go back. I'm shocked about that. But,
I want to go back. I'd rather be quarantined at school than quarantined at home. No offense to my family.
Yeah, I have to go back at least soon.
But
honestly, though, being home, I think it's a lot more sanitary to be home and having to deal with this than it would be there. So obviously we'd have to touch a lot more doorknobs and go in public bathrooms and things like that if we were at school. So I actually think in a lot of ways it's a good idea that we're home. But there are pros and cons to everything.
Especially also, once they start the online classes, I have a feeling they probably won't want to go back to the way they were doing it. Like, why are they going to go through all the trouble?
And Ithaca Sports is canceled now. So even if we did go back, I mean, our radio games that we usually put on, those are all going to be canceled, and all the Ithacan articles for game stories, they're not going to happen. So a lot of things that that matter to us, even just as college freshmen. I think we're so connected in the pro sports world and the major college sports world, but just the Division III teams, just the high schools around us, all those things that we care about and that we've followed for years, we can no longer get involved or follow them or write about them or talk about them. All those things, they're just gone now, and that's really hard.
Yeah, but
it makes being in the media almost impossible. Honestly.
Portland.
Can I go quickly? Can I go after Jack? Jack, say something.
Portland, Syracuse, and Binghamton. I think they're all online for the rest of the year. I feel like we were dead last to make our call that we're staying home. We were like literally the last people. So I don't know. I feel like it's gonna get changed. I hope it doesn't, but I don't know.
How about you, Dane?
Yeah. So this is pretty long. So this was Wednesday night, right, when the NBA was suspended. When I was just eating, and then afterwards, I hear the Oklahoma City game's delayed. I was like, wait, what? I was shocked because I didn't know what was going on. And then I see that he tests positive, and then it's delayed, and I was like, okay. Don't get me wrong, it's bigger than sports. It's of course health is wealth, public safety first. But as a sports fan, this pains because we have nothing left. The only thing left that we have right now is the UFC, which I'll get into later. Watched last night. It was and the La Liga MX, but seeing that it's weird because waking up, especially this week was supposed to be if you watch soccer. I don't know if you guys watch soccer, probably not. I watched the Champions League, and waking up and seeing the Champions League is suspended, it's like it's weird because you have a feeling that you get what I'm saying. Like you wake up and you're looking forward to a game, or you're up at night, you're looking forward to a game. As a Clipper fan, I was that Thursday. I think we were supposed to play, and I thought, all right, 10:30, we're gonna play. Canceled. The NHL gets canceled. Speaking of the NHL, Aidan, the NHL is plotting for a 2014 playoff right now. Actually, Elliot Friedman from TSN Sports just cited that. A 2014 playoff would be a little bit weird, but they would be going by, instead of points, it'd be by points percentage, which is also an alternative. The NHL is thinking of a playoff. The MLB is delayed for the next 2 weeks. The NBA is suspended.
30 days.
Yeah.
The NBA.
The NHL is going week by week with this, Gary Bettman. The MLB 2 weeks. The MLS is suspended. It's all the sports are suspended. It's like you don't get the excitement. It feels weird. One day I sat outside my room and I thought on the steps like, what's just going on? Like it feels weird. It's different. I feel like with sports it's different because sports helped me get to where I am. Sports is me. You know what I mean. Sports represents the person that I am and where I got to. This is why I'm a sports media
lost
major.
Our identities.
It's pretty much it's my passion, and it's what makes me happy. It's my remedy. It keeps me calm.
It keeps us going. It's like the thing that gets everybody
unites
to do what we do every day.
Yeah, it unites everyone. It unites us. It gets us on the radio going. You know what I'm saying? But March Madness is gone. All these sports are gone. Honestly, soccer did hold on to their grip for a little bit, but then you thought they were going to cancel. The Euros might get moved to 2021 is what I'm reading. The Olympics, is the Tokyo Olympics canceled?
Looks like it's going to be, yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like it's going to be canceled. A lot of things are going to be moved, and it feels weird not having anything to look forward to. Like Thursday, the next one, I would just try to turn on my TV. Then I was like, oh, wait a minute. There is no game on. And it's a weird feeling because, I don't think we've ever experienced this as sport fans when there's nothing on.
Nobody in the world has ever experienced this, Dean. This is like something that has never happened to anybody that's living right now. We've never had this, I don't think.
I was like yesterday, not yesterday, sorry, 2 days ago.
I'm talking about us though, mainly. Like
yeah, for sure. But I think most people,
Friday,
to be honest.
Yeah.
The first day without any major sports played in the US. The only time in a normal year, the only time that happens is during the MLB All-Star break.
Yeah.
There's like 2 days there, yeah, or 3 days.
Like 3 days
Yeah.
The home run derby in the All-Star game. So It's not really without sports. This was the first time since as far back as I can remember. Maybe I think sports might have been held off a bit back during 9/11.
Yeah, they were. Yeah,
but
They were.
as far back as I can remember as a sports fan, this has never happened before, and definitely never to this extent.
no.
Yeah.
It's,
And even
For sure.
even reading the New York Post, even actually getting the newspaper next morning,
I
see
read
even
that.
in the store, seeing the day at sports,
David-
I was like, I was just thinking, let alone the tweet, I was just thinking, this is a picture, a headline worth a million words right now.
You should keep it. You should keep it, Dean, and remember it. I mean, it's
I'll
one of
never
those remarkable
forget.
days of our lives.
Definitely
Yeah.
remember
And
that.
in the same day, I'm going shopping, and there's no mozzarella cheese, there's no bread, there's no tissue paper. I was like, Jesus Christ! It was packed in this store, by the way. It was Met Food. It was just packed, and it was like I've never like experienced. And even I had like my neighbor was like, "Oh, there was pushing and shoving where I've been." It was like everyone's in an all-out brawl right now.
yeah.
Yep.
It's a mess right now. What's going on? It's an out of hand situation, and it's an out of hand
At
situation.
least for me, I don't know about you guys, but this is the first time I like really felt like an experience like I'm living in chaos.
Yeah,
We all are.
Well, it's uncontrollable chaos because nobody has any ability to make this go away. At least for if you think about like a 9/11 situation. Well, all we have to do is just find the people that are responsible for this, and hopefully it will stop. You can't find the people responsible for this because there's nobody responsible for this.
it's going around. It's a
virus.
pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody did this. No one person's gonna end this.
Yeah.
It's an out of hand situation, and it sucks.
Yeah.
And it's made me feel like not like a different person, but you get what I'm saying, like a different feeling, like a different vibe, a different.
You have a different mentality
A lot of
about
things.
life, I think.
I was listening to a local like sports radio station earlier this morning, and the guy who was talking said something that really resonated with me. He said, there are very few times when news and sports news like intersect in such a way that you can't tell the difference between the two of them. And this is one of those times. And it's crazy to think about because right now, sports news is just considered news.
True.
Yep.
True. Yep.
That will change this week if
these news about players getting the coronavirus or the leagues canceling or whatever.
Yeah.
This is big. This is way bigger than just sports. It's become, it's just become life almost,
No, agreed. 100%.
Yeah.
And with that, should we go into some winners and losers?
Yes.
I think we can. And we can wrap it up.
I'm just curious. Are you guys, do you think these online classes are going to be like good, confusing, or
Zoom's
confusing?
They seem confusing. We haven't heard anything about them yet. That's the biggest problem I have.
Every single college student in the United States is going to be logging onto Zoom at the same exact time. How are they going to handle that? Like, we're doing this on Zoom right now, so Zoom, like, we love you.
Of course.
I think you can handle the thousands, millions.
You're a miracle worker if you can do that. Yeah.
I just want to get one more prediction. So wait, I hope we will, but I don't think we are. Do you guys think we're going to go back?
I hope so.
No, definitely not.
As much as I hope so, I don't think so. And also, quick shout out to the workers who work their butts off, and a quick shout out to Zion, Mark Cuban, for all these guys donating their salaries. Well, you get my point. I read something.
Yeah.
I didn't like this, that the Winnipeg Jets aren't going to pay their workers in the NHL, which I completely disagree with.
Before we go,
Bernie Van Wagenen said yesterday he doesn't have any information. That all just tells me the Wilpons don't want to pay anybody.
Genius doesn't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, but before, I just want to say, even though most of them probably not listening because we're not there anymore, I just want to say for the whole year we had, I want to thanks to all the Ithaca staff, teachers, people that work in the dining halls, the pub.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
I'm grateful. All I'm gonna say is
on Twitter.
Also, this kind of thing taught me a lesson. This little sports thing. Sometimes you got to be just grateful and hang on to what you have, And I'm grateful for you guys. I'm grateful for the radio show. I'm grateful for
likewise
going to Ithaca. Sometimes without something, you gotta hang on to. You gotta be grateful for what you have. And right now, all I'm gonna say is I'm grateful for what I have.
Absolutely, Dean. You're right.
Absolutely.
All right, winners and losers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Take it away now.
You want me to start?
Go for it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So my winner of the week, and this is really not a winner, but I guess in this sort of situation, in this climate, this is as much of a winner as you're going to find. It would be Zion, Blake Griffin, Giannis, Kevin Love, George Springer, even though he's an Astro. There's a few other people that I'm forgetting, but Mark Cuban, anybody that's going to give up money to give to these innocent workers who really have no control over any of this and are now out of work and can't work these games because the games aren't happening and are paid by the hour, and they're just having all these issues now economically, just thanks to those athletes who have a lot of money, have the ability to give, and are giving. So I think those guys are winners because they're just doing something that's right for society in this tough time. Yep.
Aidan, you want to go?
Yeah, sure, I'll go. For my loser, I think it would be really easy to say, oh, the loser is all the fans, or the loser is all the sports leagues. So I'm not going to take the easy way out and say that. I think, to go back to what we were talking about at the beginning, the loser of this week is the NFL Players Association right now. I think that vote was so close. There were only 60 votes separating the yes from the no in the CBA. And there have already been some, very vocal people on Twitter tweeting about it. Allen Robinson said, "Trash, freaking trash." Eric Ebron said, "I can't believe we agreed to that. LOL. We could only play this game for so long, and y'all didn't want everything we could get out of it. SMFH 2030, y'all do better." And just things like that. There have been so many critics to this, and it's not a good look for the Players Association to be so split, so closely split on an issue that's so important right now.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Dean?
My winner of the week is the UFC and Dana White.
Really?
So they're the only ones going on right now. Yesterday was the first time I even watched the fight night. I usually watch the pay-per-view. There were no fans there, and it was so weird. It's so weird to watch. I think yesterday, besides the Baltimore riots with the Oriole game against the White Sox, was the first time I've watched a fighting event without any fans, and it was weird. But I call them a winner because one, Dana White's doing his best to keep the UFC alive right now and keep the fights going. Yes, there are some relocating, and but there's gonna be fights like, you guys probably know who this is, Khabib.
Yep, he's fighting, soon, right?
Khabib fights Tony in April, and that fight might get relocated from Brooklyn, but they're going to keep the fight going. But the thing is, in a way, the UFC wins. Why? Because pay-per-view buys are going to be off the roof now. With there no fans there, and how big of a fight that fight's going to be, more people are going to be spending their money trying to watch that fight. And knowing that's the only thing on right now, and it was on ESPN last night, more people are going to at least try and watch the UFC. I'm a UFC fan myself, so I could watch it, but it felt weird though. I'm like, one, no fans and no energy, nothing. And two, it's like the fact that this is the only thing on right now, because even NASCAR's canceled and the Masters. It's like it's a weird feeling, but I like what the UFC is doing, at least behind closed doors. So I'm gonna go with Dana White and the UFC as my winners.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna say I have two losers in terms of just the situation. My loser is going to be like all fans of sports and all the people that are working in arenas or just working in general. A lot of them are losing out on work and losing out on pay, and I think that's huge. And I just hope that the state that we're in can pass quickly and we can get back to the way things were. And if I had to pick a loser in sports, it would be Rudy Gobert. After you could potentially say that you could potentially say that he was responsible for getting sports canceled, and he did not.
He's vaulted himself into one of the top 5 most influential people in sports history.
Probably.
Rudy Gobert is in that.
Honestly, I think he's hands down Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, he shut down the whole league.
He locked down the whole league.
He locked down the whole sports. If Rudy Gobert didn't get it, none of this.
Can I just bring up one point about Gobert before you keep going, Jack? I actually think, and we've heard some reports about how Donovan Mitchell and the Jazz teammates are upset with him. As good as Gobert is, they're going to have to consider trading him, I would have to assume, right? If it's as bad as we've heard.
Who's going to want him at this point?
Exactly. Who's going to want him?
Well, he's so talented. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think it's a bad
If
Antonio
player
Brown
of
get
the
a second
year.
chance.
He
Why can't
doesn't
Rudy
deserve
Gobert?
to be traded at this point.
And not only
He
that,
deserves to be cut.
He has to
How do you
clean up. He has to clean up his act.
No, but
how do you feel about
He did donate over $500,000 yesterday.
He could donate
To,
a year
to
of
fight
his
it.
salary.
but
Yes.
but you
And
know,
especially to Donovan Mitchell and the Jordan. I think Jordan Clarkson got it.
yeah.
No, he didn't. No other Jazz players have it.
Jack, you got it.
I thought I saw one, but
Yeah, but Jack, if you keep coughing, you maybe have it.
Oh,
I'm
no.
good.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
No, but I mean, in 10 years, we're going to be looking back at, like, you know, the most influential sports moments of the decade or whatever. And I have a feeling that, you know, Rudy Gobert virus or testing positive for it, that's probably going to be pretty high on the list unless sports, you know, explodes over the next decade.
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, a lot of people are unhappy, by the way, because Rudy Gobert is not going to get fined or suspended. There's some people like, oh, he should get suspended or fined. He started this. He's going to be spreading it across the league. How do you guys feel about that?
I don't think
I
Should Rudy
actually
Gobert,
don't agree.
should Rudy
Rumors
Gobert
being
be
fixed,
fined or
especially with what's
suspended?
going on? He should have been. If you're not going to test him, keep him away from the team and away from the league.
I don't
I can't
I don't
suspend
think
him for
they
that.
did it with malicious intent.
Yeah.
Which is the key part here. I don't think Gobert, you know, was touching those mics and was, you know, getting into people's personal spaces as like a way of saying, ha, I have the coronavirus and I'm going to give it to you.
No, obviously.
He was not doing it to be a dick,
Yeah,
which
no.
is why I don't think he should be fined. However, his reputation is forever destroyed.
Yeah, I don't think he should be
Sure.
fined. But
And
I think he could have
Fair.
been on about a little bit, like especially when he's uncertain. He doesn't actually know if he doesn't have it.
Well, he could have also gotten it from a different player. It wasn't like he was the one that spread it all over the place. I mean, it's possible
also
that
be
some
a
other player
carrier.
on some other team has it and gave it to him. You know, we don't know where it came from.
There could be
That's
carriers.
the story. And
It's much more complicated than just the fact that Rudy Gobert has coronavirus. You
the
know,
target is pointed at him.
It's wild.
I mean, when you
Yeah.
think about it, if Gobert never tested positive, right, the NBA doesn't shut down yet. If the NBA doesn't shut down, the NHL and MLB and MLS probably don't shut down quite yet, at least.
You know,
There's
once
March
the NBA
Madness.
shuts down, that-
March
so-
Madness, well, yeah, well, if that hadn't happened, then Duke and Kansas probably wouldn't have canceled sports. And if they hadn't canceled sports, then March Madness probably wouldn't have been canceled.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not sick.
yeah. Never,
Not sick, I
never mind. Don't worry. We're good.
Tough times right now, but you got to hang in there.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to wrap it up here on Agree to Disagree. Is everybody
Yeah.
good?
Well,
Yeah.
All right.
All good.
If you're
Let's do
watching
next
this
week. This
video,
one's good.
if you're watching this video, you're probably watching it on our Instagram or Twitter. I'm assuming it's going to be too long for our Instagram. Maybe we'll make a YouTube channel and put it up on there. We don't even know yet. We'll find a way to get it to you guys.
Sorry
Yeah,
about my
we will.
foot being shot before. I assume next week we'll talk about the results of NFL free agency. Mark Cooper to Jets. Let's hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
and we're
try-
going to have a lot of free time over the next 2 weeks, so maybe we'll have some more than just a weekly episode. We can do a
Yeah.
two week. We'll have to see what happens.
try and get
You
you
guys want to do like
guys-
Wednesday
Agreed.
night, the first night of like free agency results?
Sure, we can do that.
Oh, hell yeah.
Right, we'll try and get you guys some more content over the next week.
Yeah.
Over the next
We're going to
couple-
try to do best and get stuff out.
Yeah. Instead of
so-
forget about Woj bombs. It's agree to disagree bombs.
Right.
Yes.
If somehow you
Oh,
saw
that's
the
right.
video without
Jack's winner of the
going
week.
to our social media, you know, give us a follow at agree to disagree _VIC on Instagram or at A2D _VIC on Twitter. I get that we are not currently on VIC, but you know,
This is an
We
alternative.
will be soon.
We
Shout
will-
out to Lorenzo.
we'll be back there soon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Lorenzo. Shout out to all the wonderful executive staff at VIC. They're all great people.
Shout out to everyone in Ithaca in general. The great
Yep.
professors, the great workers,
Go
everyone that
Bombers.
works their butt off. Go
All right.
Bombers, baby.
Go Bombers.
Roll Bombers.
See you guys
Have a
next
good one.
week or maybe later this week.
Yeah. Don't